Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sultan Moinuddin Shaukat Ali, MBBS, MD, DNB in Radio Diagnosis from SAID GSMC and KEM Hospital, Mumbai. Now, I've been your faculty in ICRAMED Academy. I welcome you all to ICRAMED Academy. I also want you all to go through the various other courses available, that is, other than thyroid, abdomen, pelvis, the transvaginal ultrasound, early pregnancy failure. So we have first trimester scans, second trimester scans, ultrasound Doppler, etc., etc. So I hope you are enjoying this session. You are learning through it, and most of the times I always focus that the concepts, the basic parts become stronger, because if you know the concepts, the diagnosis part becomes easier, and once you know the diagnosis, the management part becomes easier. Okay, so before you start and go on with this, I always advise you to go through my previous sessions on thyroids, that is thyroids part 1, part 2, in which part 1 I've illustrated about the various ACR table, how do we see what is composition, what is ecogenicity, etc. And in part 2, I have shown you all the ultrasound images, how exactly does those things which we have discussed in part 1 looks like on ultrasound. Okay, so now part 3 is a continuation of part 1 and 2, where in this thyroid session we would be seeing that how do we summate, how do we calculate and ultimately give a thyroid's value. Okay, so without any delay, let us begin. So initially I would take some portion from the previous part as a part of revision, and then we would move to the final part. So thyroids, as you all know, it's thyroid imaging, reporting and data system, and you see the various composition, ecogenicities. There are 5 important things: the shape, margin and presence or absence of ecogenic foci, and you have to give numbering to each of this, that is composition, ecogenicity, shape, yeah, the shape, the margin, the presence or absence of ecogenic foci, and each of this are given a specific points. All of these are to be added accordingly, and then you come across a final value of points, and based on that you give a Tirads category. The higher the Tirads category, higher is the chances of malignancy. Okay, we had seen this. So these are our 5 important things: composition, ecogenicity, shape, margin and ecogenic foci. So you can remember this very easily. So first is composition, which is C. Okay, then you remember this is margin, so this is M. There are two E's, so you have two E's. One is ecogenic foci and second is ecogenicity. Easy to remember: ecogenicity and ecogenic foci. And S is shape of the lesion. Okay, so all these 5 components can be easily remembered by using the mnemonic CMEs. CMEs. Okay, and so C is the composition, M is the margin, E is the ecogenicity and ecogenic foci, and S is nothing but the shape of the lesion. Okay, so this is how you can remember the various important headings. Okay, now so any of this we will have to give CMEs S. So based on CMEs you will have to give the value, and so this is what we had discussed last time even, that thyroid 0 is benign, no biopsy, no FNSE. Again thyroid 2 is not suspicious, no FNSE is indicated. Thyroid 3 is mildly suspicious and FNA or biopsy is done more than 0.5. Similarly, Tirads 4 is FNAC or biopsy is done if it is more than 1.5, and in Tirads 5 it's highly suspicious and we recommend FNAC or biopsy if it is more than 1 centimeter. Now, most importantly, the second important thing which you have to remember is these points. 0 point is Tirads 1, 2 points is Tirads 2, 3 points is Tirads 3. So easy to remember. 2, 3, Tirads 2, Tirads 3. 4 to 6 is Tirads 4. And 7 or more than 7 is Tirads 5. Okay. So now ये अपना बेसिक्स है एंड कुछ और शॉर्टकट्स जो हमने लास्ट टाइम सीखे थे. So these are the shortcuts that if the lesion is completely cystic or spongy, then you have to stop assigning points there. So you don't have to see size, you don't have to see margins and all. So that becomes TR1 and it finishes there. If it is completely cystic or spongy. If it is solid, partially solid, then at least you get TR4, remember. And if you have this criteria, that if it is taller than wider, if it is hypoechoic, very hypoechoic, if it is extra thyroid extension, and if it shows microcalcifications. So all these are important features for malignancy. Okay, and they favor Tirads 5 lesion. Okay, चलो यहाँ तक हो गया. Now, calm mind. I'll be showing you images and we'll use whatever we have learned in till now, that is in our starting from our first videos, and we'll apply this and finally come to the conclusion. So आपको दो चीज करनी है, सीखना है what is the technique of thyroid ultrasound. If you see lesion, how to characterize them as thyroids, and that's all. You are done with it. Chalo, let us take number one. So here you are shown multiple images. So we have four important images, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Subka will calculate thyroids. Okay, chalo. So you know this is the thyroid gland, correct? Shall I outline it? Yeah. Now by now you all know this is thyroid gland and you are able to see that there is a lesion. Of course, lesion is anechoic and you have got posterior acoustic shadowing also. You can see posterior acoustic enhancement also. You can see that the echogenicity in this region is more as compared to this region. That is because of posterior acoustic enhancement, because this lesion is cystic. So what is the composition? So how to calculate the value? Cm is S. So what is composition? Composition is cystic. How is the margin? Margin is well defined. How is echogenicity? It is anechoic. Any echogenic foci are you able to see in this? Answer is no, we are not able to see any echogenic foci. And S is shape. What is the shape of this lesion? This is wider than taller. Okay. So now let us come to the table to assign the numbers. Okay. So I'll rub everything so that it becomes easy. So for that lesion which we had seen, image number 1, this image. Okay, image number 1, we'll be assigning the numbers. So what is the composition? It is cystic. So how many points? 0 points. 0 points. What is echogenicity? Anechoic. So how many points? 0 points. What is the shape? It is wider than taller. So again 0 points. What is the margin? Margin is smooth. So 0 points. Echogenic foci, no echogenic foci were there, so it is 0 points. So total points कितने आ रहे हैं for this image? Image number 1, total points are 0. So if it is 0, this comes in Tirads 1. समझ गया? So this is Tirads 1 lesion. Okay. Now let us see the second case. Okay. Now look at the second image. Now in second image again we will be applying CMEs. Okay. So composition, how is the composition again in this case? Here you are able to see it's a well defined, and again there is posterior acoustic enhancement. You can see very well the echogenicity posterior to the lesion is increased as compared to the thyroid gland itself. Okay, so that is posterior acoustic enhancement and it is anechoic. So this is cystic, correct? And what are these artifacts? So you are able to see hyperechogenicity with hyperechoic artifact. So these are comet tails. So this is cystic. How is the margin? Well defined. So cystic ko 0 point, margins well defined 0 point, echogenicity anechoic 0 point, echogenic foci, yes, there are comet artifacts. So again I take back you to the table. See, if there are comet artifacts, again you give it 0 points, correct? So we'll assign 0 points for ecogenic artifacts. And what about shape? Again, the shape is wider than taller, but most importantly, we have seen in shortcuts. Do you remember that in shortcuts, if it is cystic or spongy, you have to stop assigning TR1. Khatam. So this is cystic, so this is TR1. Okay. Now let us see this lesion again. So again, this is a lesion. What is the composition? So you are able to see this is cystic area, but if you see this area, this is all spongiform. Okay. So again, cystic spongiform lesion, again Thyroids 1 and stop as per shortcuts, right? But if you see, if you calculate also, it becomes CM is 2. So C, cystic means again cystic or spongy. So there is 0 point for that. Margins well defined, 0 points. Ecogenic, so it is almost, if you see ecogenic, yeah, ecogenicity, it is anechoic because of cystic areas, right? So that again makes it 0 points. Then you have margins which are well defined. There are no ecogenic foci, so 0 points. Shape, it is wider than taller, so again 0 points. So this is Thyroids 1. Again, similar looking lesion. So here you are able to see in 4. This is a this is a cystic area, and this all is the spongy area or spongiform area. So again, if you see cyst and spongiform area, you have to stop at TR1. So this is Thyroids 1. Okay. So we are done with Thyroids category 1. Okay. Now we move to, now you are confident with this. So how you have to give numbering accordingly. So now let us take a second example. So here you have a well-defined solid cystic lesion. So you're able to see solid area. This is solid area. Same lesion in longitudinal section, you are able to see this solid cystic, solid area. This is solid area. So if you see, how is the composition? C M is. Let us see the composition of this. So composition of this in this case is solid cystic, that is mixed composition, right? So what would be the points which we would assign to this? Mixed solid cystic, so 1 point. Okay, 1 point for this. Now if you see the ecogenicity, how is the ecogenicity? This is same as that of thyroid, almost same. So this is isoechoic, correct? So in ecogenicity, this is isoechoic. So isoechoic will have 1 point. So 1 point for composition, 1 point for ecogenicity. Now how is the shape? If you see the shape, it is wider than taller. So 0 points. So for shape, you will have 0 points. Okay. Now margins. How are the margins? Margins are smooth. Correct. Margins are smooth. So if you have smooth margins, you have 0 points for margins. And now coming to ecogenic foci. So let us see if there are any ecogenic foci. Is there ecogenic foci? Answer is no. There are no ecogenic foci. So again you have 0 points. So if you see the total of this, what you will have, this is 0, 0, 0. So you will have total how many points? Total 2 points. So if you have 2 points, this becomes Thyroids 2. Okay. Again, this is not suspicious. This is Thyroids 2. So understood how to calculate. So this was a Thyroids 2 lesion. Okay. So in pathology, when we give FNSA, they give what is called Batista grading. So they have a Batista grading system and we have Thyroids too. So normally, if you, there are multiple studies where uh, if it is a high Thyroids lesion, it's a high Batista lesion. So there is a correlation between Thyroids value and the Batista value on FNSA. Now let us take a third example. So Now look at this carefully. So here again you are able to see this lesion, which is very well defined, and you can see it is, what is the composition? So CM is, so how is the composition? This is solid. This is the same case. So here this is solid and this is isoechoic. Look at the gland. The echogenicity is almost same as that of gland. So composition is solid. uh, Echogenicity is isoechoic. And are there echogenic foci? Answer is no, there are no echogenic foci. How is the margin? Margin is smooth. hmm, Margin is smooth. And what about shape? It is again wider than taller. Okay. So now let us come to calculation of the Tirads point. So in this, what would be the first composition point? So for composition, we'll give point of, this is solid, completely solid. So you will get 2 points, correct? Yeah. So 2 points. Now, how is the echogenicity? It is isoechoic. So you will get 1 point for this. Correct? How is the shape? Wider than taller, so 0 points. Margin smooth, so 0 point. Echogenicity none, so 0 point. So total point would be 2 plus 1, 3. So this is Tirads 3. Now you have to measure the size. If the size is more than 2.5 centimeters, then go for FNAC equal to 2.5. And if it is less than 1.5, then just follow it up. Okay. Then just you have to follow it up. Now, let us see the next important case. Okay, so this was we have seen Tirads 3. Now let us come to another lesion. So here again you are having a well defined lesion. Let us come to CM is 2. So see composition, how is it? Solid. Solid. Margin smooth. How is the echogenicity? Very important. If you see the thyroid and this is decrease, less in echogenicity. So this is hypoechoic. Smooth surface, no echogenic foci within it. Correct. So this is hypoechoic, solid lesion. So let us calculate the values. So according to composition, this is solid. Correct. So if it's solid, we'll be giving it 2 points, right? Now echogenicity, it is hypoechoic, so again it gets 2 points. Shape, here the shape of the lesion was wider than taller, correct? It's wider than taller, so it remains 0 points for that shape. There are no echogenic foci, so 0 points. Margin smooth, so 0 points. So but total points become 4. So 4 to 6 goes in Tirads 4. Now you have to measure the size. If the size of this is more than 1.5 centimeter, you have to go for FNAC. Okay. Now look here, this is another example. In this case again you are able to see a well-defined hypoechoic lesion. So you are able to make out this, a very hypoechoic, well-defined lesion, and it is solid. So remember, whenever it's a solid lesion, it usually goes for Tirads 4. Okay? And solid hypoechoic is always more than Tirads 4. Okay, remember. Because as soon as you say solid, it means 2 points are automatically there. So it becomes more than Tirads 2. Okay, suppose if it is, even if it is hyperechoic or isoechoic, it becomes 1. Okay, so at least it becomes 3 points. So if it is at least 3 points, it becomes Thyroid 3. So any uh, solid lesion in thyroid, whether it's isoechoic, hyperechoic, or hypoechoic, it is at least Thyroid 3. If it is hypoechoic, it becomes Thyroid 4. If it fits with other criterias of malignancy, like if it is wider than, if it is taller than wider, it shows echogenic microcalcifications. Okay, margins are showing extra thyroid extensions. All this will go for Thyroid 5. Now let us see another beautiful example. So now here you have got four important images. Okay, now if you see all of this, now let us see what is similarity in all of this. So all of this, they are there in thyroid. Okay, if you see, this is lesion over here in the right lobe. You can see that it is extending outside the boundary of thyroid. This is thyroid. So it is showing extra thyroid extension. Lesion is solid as per CME2S, correct? So composition, how is the composition in all of this? Again, in this case, the composition is solid. Again, in this case, this is the lesion. Here there is a deep extension. This is isthmus. This is the thyroid. Here again, this is the lesion. So in each of this, you notice that there is extra thyroid extension. Okay. So there is extra thyroid extension, correct? Now if you see this lesion, they are taller than wider. See this again, they are more tall than wide. This is again tall than wide. Tall than wide. Okay, this is nearly long. So they are taller than wider in shape. Hmm. If you see echogenic, can you see this? So these all lesions are showing punctate echogenic foci. Correct? Again, you can notice in this also, even in this, you can see this punctate echogenic foci. And they are tiny, so they show punctate microcalcification. If you see the contour or margins, they are lobulated or irregular, correct? So now let us calculate the uh, value of Thyroids by assigning points to them. Okay, so let us assign. So in this case, you have seen that what was the composition? Solid. So for solid, you have to assign 2 points. What was the echogenicity? Very hypoechoic, so 3 points. What was the shape? It was taller than wider, so 3 points. So 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus, how is the margin? Margin is lobulated, so 2 points. Some of them are showing extra thyroid extension, all of them, so 3 points actually. Echogenic foci, yes, there are punctate echogenic foci, so 3 points. So add all of this, you get 2 plus 2, 4, and 4, 3, 7, 10, 13. So 7 or more than 7. So in all of this go for Thyroids 5. If they are more than 1 centimeter, always go for FNC. If less than 5, just follow them. Okay, so these are the lesions. Okay, so this is how we have seen the various examples of calculation of Thyroids, and we have seen beautifully how Thyroids 1 to 5 would appear on the ultrasound. Okay, hope you have enjoyed this, you have understood this. uh, all of your feedbacks, all of your comments are most welcome. Okay, so you can comment it down, and you can mention whatever good you found about this video, how it was useful. You can also mention what else do you need, so that we can work on it. Okay, thank you.